Okay.
Here we go. Let's try this now. Apparently there was no sound. Is there sound now? How about now? That's better. Well, the mic died, so there you go. I have sound now, it says. Sound is going now. Okay, good. Fantastic. All right. Sorry if you guys have a bunch of sound effects. It is what it is. I am on the road, okay? Hello there. So we're going to make this an abbreviated version tonight. I hope you don't mind. Hello, Mindy. Hello, Greta. Don't worry. Fix the sound problem. That's all taken care of. Sometimes when you're on the road, it's a little different than when you're home on your own setup. Okay. Hello, Joanne and Sheila. How are you? Where are you guys from? Good. Excellent. I see tons of people coming in. Fantastic. Hi, Julie. Hi, Janine. Pam, hello. Julie again. Lorraine, awesome. Missouri, excellent. Ontario, Canada. Juliana. New York, Susan, hello. Australia, Jan Marie, hello. Good evening. I do help people with cystic fibrosis, Dicko. Yes, I can help them. At least quality of life. Hello, Denise in Philadelphia. Hello there. Rochester, New York. Sherry in Phoenix. I'm doing good. Linda in Ohio. Patty from New York. How are you? Kim in Arizona. Monique in I think I saw Tennessee, but I'm not for sure. But at least Monique. Dale, St. Petersburg, Florida, the best roof salesman on the face of the planet. How about that? I watch you guys out there. Jennifer, Edgar Casey, question mark. I'm not Edgar Casey. Terry, Quitman, Texas. Dale, Bay City, Michigan. Hello, Maria from New York. Where am I? When I'm on the road, I do not tell you where I am. That's my rule. Dr. Michael J. Price in Omaha. Hello there. Boca, Carrie, Etta in Colorado. Laura in New Mexico. Wonderful. So we're going to do the efficient version tonight because I am on the road and it is a weekend away. Going to see some friends, some other colleagues of mine, doctors of our friends of ours. I'm not going to give you their names either, so out of protection, because all of us doctors roll together because we do natural health and we fix people. By the way, the first thing I'll point out tonight, first, Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, your source for health knowledge and freedom, health, freedom, knowledge, however you want to look at it, all right? If you didn't see the frontline doctors, let's see, Dr. Richard Urso, I believe it is. Dr. Richard Urso of the America's Frontline Doctors. I am so, by the way, for as much as I bang on the medical profession, I want to say that thank you, frontline doctors, for stepping out. Thank you for medical doctors stepping up and being ethical. I really do appreciate that, okay? Yes, so I just arrived in town here. Literally, I arrived literally 10 minutes before I'm going on, and I put all this together in about 2 minutes and got everything together. It was fast, but this is actually the fun part of it, just kind of like on the go, making sure that I'm delivering as much as humanly possible to you folks. But Dr. Richard Urso, Frontline Doctors, he did a little research because that's what doctors do, is they actually do research to find out how they can help more people. If you have a medical doctor that is simply pouring out more drugs, and that's all they do, that's a big problem, right? This doctor actually started looking, and what they found out was, ready? Maybe President Trump said HCQ for a reason, because the research they're finding, which we're going to go deeper in, is that HCQ actually potentially destroys cancer cells by suffocating them of no oxygen. Now, the thing I find fascinating about this is in the way that It works. Now, why are they using HCQ with zinc? What actually happens was the zinc would actually open up the cell and drive it into the cell to kill off any problems, right? But I said a long time ago, actually I posted today, what if, just what if HCQ actually did a lot more curing of people and a lot more things than before? No. Now, I have to go down this road because people will say, well, what are cancer cells? Now, I am not making any claims today. I am not claiming of curing anything. I'm not claiming treating of anything. I'm not claiming diagnosing of anything, okay? So I am keeping myself clean when I talk about this. I have shown you other books, other research, other knowledge, other information when I'm in my home studio of where things like cancer, things like other debilitating diseases have already been handled already. We've talked about this for the longest time possible. Right? Now, I've also talked a lot about parasitic activity. Parasites, right? Now, I've also said my estimation is that about 90 to 95% of Americans have parasitic activity in their body and don't know about it, okay? So, what is cancer? Well, I believe in a lot of instances, cancer is parasitic in nature. Now, some people might say fungus, they might say a bacterial. I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, cancer a lot of times could be considered parasitic in nature. Now, what if you have an anti-malarial medication that also kills parasites, but also potentially cuts off the oxygenation and blood resource to cancer and tumors? Oh boy, you just opened up a whole can of worms with quote unquote, now I didn't say it, but President Trump and people like Dr. Stella and Dr. Urso, they can say it, that there's a cure out there. Are we entering into the new times of where you find out that there's cures across the world? You don't need the Susan G. Komen Foundation anymore. You don't need all of these foundations anymore, because guess what? This stuff was figured out a long time ago. The problem is they make lots of dollars off of it. They make lots of dollars. And then keep in mind, if they tell you that there's no cure for it, that allows them under the state of emergency to push a vaccine forward. That's what the NIH, the CDC is trying to actually do. That's what the Fauci and the Gateses are trying to do, instead of allowing HCQ. Now, I am not saying to go take HCQ. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't have a medicine license, nor do I want one, nor do I want to go down that road. However, what if you can take natural herbs, natural remedies, and then worst case scenario, say you have a really, really bad case of a debilitating condition, or maybe you even have cancer. Is it really a bad thing if some people in America take some hydroxychloroquine and that actually handles a problem? Let me tell you, of all the medications in the world that I don't love, I think I can look past some HCQ if it's going to help some people handle some major health conditions in their life. And then, hey, even if it goes into liver and kidneys, guess what? Afterwards, we'll clean out that liver and kidneys. We won't have a problem with it. How does that sound? This is truly huge, and I really do think that this is going to be an interesting time where we have natural health practitioners here, we have medical doctors here, and we're going to start actually merging together and connecting. We're going to be on the same team. We're going to actually be doing things for people that actually help them live a more abundant and healthy life, versus drug them into oblivion. And then if they did need a medication, if the lifestyle was off or was a potential problem, now you have generic drugs that are actually pennies on the dollar, going to be manufactured inside the United States of America, that you could take, that you could bypass a problem for the time being. You know, somebody does have a high blood pressure or a cholesterol issue, and again, it's all lifestyle. But if they do, maybe you could temporarily handle that for them, bring it down, bring that blood pressure down, handle that cholesterol, handle whatever it is, and then get them out of preventative lifestyle, supplementation, nutrition, natural health, chiropractic, naturopathy, acupuncture, massage therapy, all these amazing therapies out there. I don't mean to leave them all out, but I can't name them all, right? But all these therapies out there, and then all of a sudden they start getting better, and then they can come off that medication that they didn't necessarily want to be on in the beginning. It was actually very inexpensive, and so they can live life again. How beautiful would that and could that be? Now, I want to dive into the next thing. So the president came on tonight. I listened to a little bit of it as we were driving, but I didn't catch it all, so I don't know everything he said. I do know he talked about if Congress, if Pelosi and Schumer do not act on the payroll tax, that he actually might do an executive order. And we weren't sure if we heard deferred or if we heard that they would do away with it. So I again, listening on the go, I didn't catch it all. My wife thinks, Dr. Palmer thinks that he said deferred, but she didn't like that word because that would mean putting it off and then having to pay it later. And so she catches that stuff. I thought he said do away with. We'll go back and watch it and re-listen to it. But either way, possible payroll tax alleviation, which could be very massive. People don't realize how much businesses pay in payroll tax. I mean, per pay period, we personally, okay, we have a good amount of employees. I employ a lot of people. My wife and I do. And I'll tell you, between all of us, it's upwards of $10,000 a pay period in payroll taxes. Do you understand the amount of people that we could hire, the amount of expansion we could fund, the amount of other projects we could fund by having upwards of $8,000 to $10,000 a pay period and extra revenue, extra money to be able to put towards new. Trust me, folks, I like hiring new people. I like helping people. I like helping families. I like empowering an employee to not only work hard and get paid, but finding more opportunities for them as well so that they can do more, they can earn more, and they can be a better person, grow in their own personal lives, take care of their family even better. Payroll tax sucks. If you don't know that, payroll tax sucks. Whether you're an employee and you get hit with it or you're a business owner and you have to pay it out, it sucks, okay? So, just letting you know, that's huge. The other thing is, I know he talked about pre-existing conditions. Now, I didn't hear this. I read this on Twitter later, okay? And a friend of mine, Sarah Outlaw out there, she pays $20,000 a month. We, between myself and her, our office and her office, $20,000. We pay about that as well. We pay about $8,000 to $10,000 a pay period. There's 2 pay periods in a month. $20,000 in payroll tax going to the government that is being wasted. It is being wasted, literally. Do you understand what I could do with $20,000 a month? $240,000, $250,000 a year. That pays for a lot of employees. I can tell you that much right now. That's amazing. So anyway, here's something that was interesting. I think I heard something about pre-existing conditions and the fact that it's very possible that the president might make insurance companies pay for pre-existing conditions. Now, remember I told you, I don't always love everything the president does. I'm not a worshiper of Donald Trump. I am not a worshiper of Q. I'm not a worshiper of anything that they want to call all this stuff we're going through right now. I'm a worshiper of the truth. I'm a worshiper of the Creator, God. But I don't worship people. I like policies or I don't like policies, right? I don't love the insurance companies having to fund pre-existing conditions. Now, let me tell you why, because some people will get angry with that and get upset with it. The reason why is because it's not because I want people to be sick. This is the problem. And actually, I believe Obamacare already actually did some of this. And so I don't know that this was actually a huge move. I think it was more of a PR thing. Trust me, the president also knows how to do public relations, okay? Not all of this is like genius and brilliant. Some of it, he just knows what needs to be heard, okay? This is the reason I don't like that. 98% of all health conditions are lifestyle related. Meaning, if you have cardiovascular disease, if you have diabetes, if you have cancer, if you have fibromyalgia, if you have all these different things, the majority of them are mostly handled with lifestyle. Now, does it mean it's all going to go away and you're going to be perfectly back to healed? No, not necessarily. I'm not saying that. My point is that many of these things, I don't personally agree that pre-existing conditions should be covered. The reason why, now, I could debate this back and forth. I can even see your viewpoint on why they should be. It's why I won't argue the whole thing out, because there's no point in arguing it, because I can see the other side of the viewpoint. I can see why people want it covered. There's two things I think he's doing. All right, two things. There's two reasons I think it's happening. He's doing that. One, there's a viewpoint that, well, the pharmaceutical companies are helping people get sick, and so actually he's punishing the pharmaceutical companies for getting people sick in the first place, and I can totally understand that. Okay, I get that viewpoint, and I don't necessarily disagree with that viewpoint. Insurance companies are helping people get sick, and so that's a big one. Now, what I really think he's doing, keep in mind, what is the number one thing and the number one reason why Donald Trump was elected the president, and the number one reason why President Trump will get reelected in 2020? There's only one reason. It's not because of COVID. It's not because of the Great Awakening. It's not because of Q. It's not because of his good looks. It's not because of Melania. It's not because of anything. There's only one reason why Donald Trump was elected president, and there's only one reason why President Trump will most likely be reelected by a large majority landslide. One reason is, you ready? The economy. That's it. Guess what? We live in an economic world. We will always live in an economic world. And the number one reason anybody cares about anything at this point, now, obviously, you and I are truthers, right? We want Pizzagate to come out. We want Adrenochrome to come out. We want Hollywood to come out. We want all this stuff handled, right? Obviously, we want the Republic restored. But remember, we're the 1%, maybe 5% at max, but 1, 2, 3%, right? That's what we are. Hopefully, we get to that 3.5%. I think we're there. But we're a very small percentage of awake people. The majority of people are trying to survive every single day. Do you know why the majority of people aren't in the truther movement? Not because they don't necessarily want to be. Most people, 75 to probably 90% of the American public today, is scared to death because they're trying to survive from day to day. That's it. That simple. No other way around it. All right? They're trying to survive day to day. They're scared to death. They're trying to find the next. You have single moms out there with their children, single dads out there with their children. You have parents working both their butts off, getting taxed to death, paying insanely amounts of money, $1,000 per month plus in daycare, childcare, etc. Right? Hey, I'm a one percenter. I'm a one percenter in many ways. A lot of you out there are one percenters. Do you realize it doesn't take a lot of money? Really, it doesn't take a ton of money to get in the top 5%. If you're earning an honest, decent living, you're actually an upper percent. If you have a savings at all, you're in the upper percentage of Americans living today. The majority of people cannot afford a $500 expense right now. If something emergency happened in their life, they could not afford a $500 expense right now. It would break them. I just bought a couple $100 the other day in silver. I'm in a very different position. Many of you are in a very different position than these other folks. And there's nothing wrong with these folks. That they're working their butts off to survive. Right? and they should be rewarded more for how much they're working. They need to get skill sets. Maybe they have the wrong job, etc. I think the reason why he did this was he wanted to lower the bankruptcy number in America. The president, in his businesses, has bankrupted a couple of his companies. Now, the liberals are going to say he's bankrupted company, he's a horrible business person, he doesn't know what he's doing, etc., etc. He's had hundreds, if not thousands, of companies, and he might have bankrupted like a handful. He's batting like 98%. I think he's okay and he knows what he's doing, okay? The problem is the president, like myself and many of you out there who maybe own a business, we know how to set up LLCs, S Corps, things like that to protect yourself from other problems. So if you bankrupt a company, he's not bankrupting himself. He's not personally going bankrupt. He's bankrupting a corporation to then restructure it or dissolve it. It's smart ways of doing business, okay? And by the way, if someone hasn't failed in their life, they haven't been successful, okay? He bankrupted a couple companies. He moved on. It made him more successful. He knew how to do better the next time. But what I think he's doing with this pre-existing conditions thing is, I told you the other day, 580, I think 600,000 families go bankrupt every single year from medical expenses. Most of those are coming from pre-existing condition issues. I think what he's doing is he's forcing the insurance company's hand to make them pay out for all these pre-existing conditions, which twofold might actually put the insurance companies and big pharma in a really bad spot, because now they're going to actually have to get ethical, and they're going to have to really, really understand what they're doing with their healthcare. Because if they have to cover everything, it may restructure the entire. He may have just restructured the entire health insurance industry with the stroke of a pen. That might actually be completely brilliant. But I also think he's trying to protect the American public by lowering costs, and so people don't go bankrupt. So if somebody goes in and they have diabetes, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they need dialysis or they need open heart surgery, right? And next thing you know, we're talking about a couple $100,000, $500,000 worth of procedures. That person can't afford that. Well, if it's covered as a pre-existing condition, that family just went not bankrupt, meaning they now can survive. They might have a couple bills, but they didn't go bankrupt. You're actually saving people's lives. You're keeping families together by allowing them to not go bankrupt instead of losing everything. Okay, so very interesting. I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's perfect. Again, I don't love the pre-existing conditions thing from a natural health care standpoint, but again, that's just me. We will see how this goes. I don't know how this is going to shake out, but it's very fascinating. The other part is, and I thought it was very, very interesting, was he hammered. I saw the video or clip where he hammered on the press or the media that was there, and they said that why aren't they wearing masks, or why isn't he wearing a mask, or why aren't they wearing masks, etc. and COVID. Somebody said premiums will be high in insurance. Guess what? Premiums are supposed to be high in insurance. You're not supposed to be using your insurance for everything. That's a whole other point. You're not supposed to be using your insurance for every little sniffle and sneeze and cough. That's not how it's supposed to work. That means there'll be more competition in the market. So yes, premiums will go high, but guess what? New insurance companies will pop up, and they'll actually force costs lower. Welcome to free market. Welcome to free market economics. Okay. Again, so he was talking about non-masks. And the interesting thing was he used the rules against them. And he said, no, actually, we're actually at a political activity, a peaceful protest. And so he used the government's own rules against them, calling it a peaceful protest and a political activity. Okay? I thought that was fascinating. Now, before I dive into this last thing, I know some people are getting all weird about the whole money thing in insurance. Yes, and initially, by the way, guys, all your costs are going to go up. Did you know that when we nationalize not nationalize everything, but when we nationalize this country and products start coming back into the U.S., guess what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to buy cheap cameras that I'm looking into right now that are just going to be thrown away every old time, that they go bad. You're not going to just buy another laptop any old time. What's going to actually happen is quality of products is going to go up, right? That we might actually make cars that last instead of breaking down. We might actually get cell phones with my little 5G protector in here. You might actually get cell phones that don't cost $1,500 anymore, but initially they'll go up higher, that don't break down every year or 2 years, right? So healthcare is going to go up, but when it goes up, guess what happens? Other companies come in place. Other companies come in and start being competitive. This is literally free market economics. The price of food is going to go up. It's called inflation. It's going to go up. Your food is going to go up. But guess what? If your payroll tax goes away, your income goes up. If your medical bills go away because more things are covered, your income goes up. If more jobs are needed, wages go up. Do you see how this works? He is actually literally trying to keep the economy going so it doesn't destroy itself, as well as keep Americans working. That's literally, and now we have things in place where American workers come first before international people coming in. This is all about making America, as he says, great again, or now keeping America great again. Obviously, it's slogans, okay? The insurances will go down, but initially your costs are going to go up, but also your income could go up. Plus, on top of that, we don't even know what the quantum economy looks like yet. And quantum economy might change the whole thing to the point where everything shifts. And so I'm not even going into that tonight because that could be a whole other thing. But before I want to go, my last segment tonight, because I want to make this efficient because I am on the road and I got to go spend some time with my family because I love them dearly and hang out with some friends and do some cool stuff, is being on the same page. What does that mean? I actually had a conversation today with someone long distance, a patient of mine, and we went over something that was quite interesting. I am no psychologist, nor psychiatrist, nor do I want to be one, or either. But I do know a little bit about how the psyche works, about how family dynamics work, how things work, just, natural laws. There's a lot of people out there, even on the feed here, who I talked last night about being on an island, right? Being on an island, small island, where people don't think the same way you think. All right? Yes, I understand that's accurate. I understand it. I totally get it. However, there's two people that have to be on the same page. Now, if you're single, or if you're whatever kind of relationship you're in, whatever, if you're single, it doesn't really matter, okay? I'm talking to people out there who are in either a regular normal marriage, husband and wife, or even if you're in a gay marriage or something like that. I'm not judging you at all. If you're in a gay marriage, these same rules apply to you both, okay? All types of marriages, partnerships, girlfriend, boyfriend, engaged, doesn't matter. This applies across the board, okay? You have to be on the same page. Now, I understand. One of you might be in crazy town like me and be going for the truth. Another one of you, your partner, spouse, etc., might also be on the not right page, totally off. They may be questioning everything you do, etc., 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 right? However, get on the same page. Okay? That doesn't mean if you're married or you're partnering with a sheep that you have to become a sheep. That's not what I'm talking about. It is now your job to sell them on the same page. The truther wins, guys. If you're the truther, you win. Now let me explain how this works, okay? But let me first give you an example and a story of my own life. Now, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm not saying this to say, I have a better marriage than anybody, because trust me, my wife and I bicker as well, just like anybody else. We don't always agree on everything. We don't argue, we don't fight, but we'll sometimes bicker because we're both type A's and we like different things, etc. But we end up on the same page always. Now, there might be a problem or a topic of conversation in our house that we might have to make a decision on. And we may not even have the same viewpoint. We may not even have the same idea of how we get there. But I will tell you, no matter what, even if we come in with a different viewpoint, we always end up on the same page. And that's not through arguing. That's not through yelling at each other. That's through literally communication. My wife and I working to figure something out. Now, does that mean like, hey, we might like get a little aggravated or angry at a particular thing here or there or not agree? Yes, totally. But we always end up on the same page. So, your job is to end up on the same page. If something comes up, if my wife says, I really think this is the way to go, and I'm like, I don't really know, it doesn't seem like it, etc., all this different stuff. If my wife says, I believe this truly is the right way to go, you know what I do? I get in line and I go in that direction. And then, if we're going in that direction and it turns out great, great. If it doesn't turn out great, you know what I don't do? I don't criticize my wife. Absolutely 100% do not criticize my wife. If she makes a mistake, I say, no worries. You made a really good decision on the way to go with it. It made complete sense. It was completely rational. I'm with you. Okay, let's pivot. We pivot onto the right path and we make it. I never accuse her of anything. I never blame her of anything. I applaud her for making a decision, going in that direction, and we just switch a little bit. That's all. That's simple. If we're coming up to a decision and I'm like, this is the way to go, and she's like, I'm not really sure, whatever, right? But then I kind of talk to her about certain things and I make something make sense. And you know what she does? She gets in line. Not behind me, next to me. And then we go forward with the decision. And either it's the right decision and we win, or it was slightly wrong decision. And you know what? If I made a wrong decision, my wife doesn't criticize me. She doesn't beat me up. She doesn't tell me I'm terrible. She backs me up, says, okay, it was slightly off, but I understand why you made it. Let's pivot. We pivot and we go forward. That simple. If you guys are struggling on, we have to move to a different state. If you're just struggling on, oh, hey, I don't believe you, you're crazy, blah, 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 like there's no way this truther stuff is real, etc., all this different stuff, or it's over kids or it's over a school, etc. As the truth individual, you have to be strong enough to take that agreement to the war, not to have war with them, but you know what I mean, right? You have to take command, take control, and go forward. That simple. It's your duty. It's your responsibility to. And guess what? You have to also make it abundantly clear to your spouse, partner, whatever. If I make a mistake and the decision wasn't perfectly right, you are not allowed to beat me up. Not physically, obviously physically. You're not allowed to mentally beat me up. You're not allowed to say you're wrong. Why did you make this mistake? Any of this stuff. You pivot and you keep going. Now, if you have a problem in any of your relationships, if you have someone who's just dead set against you, at the end of the day, guess what, guys? You have to make a decision whether if it's worth it or not. And I'm not telling you at all to get divorces. I'm not telling you at all to change anything. I am literally just telling you everyone needs to get on the same page in their household, in their life, in their partnerships, etc. That is the only way forward. Every single family that I am friends with who I know, the two people at the head, whether male, female, male, male, female, female, all of them who are successful, are always on the same page no matter what, and I've never, ever, ever once heard them beat each other up, even for the wrong decision. They said, hey, you know what they said? They said, great job of making a decision in the first place. If we make a mistake, we'll just change the decision. Life is based on decisions. If you're having problems in life, it's because you're not making a decision on something that you're letting just spin out of control and drive you up a wall and bother you over and over and over, okay? If it's health, keep working on it. Plant seeds, etc. Here's a story before I kind of end this tonight. Is several years ago, my wife and I went to dinner with my in-laws at a pretty nice restaurant, and it was next to a mall. We had a nice dinner. We're walking out, and it's kind of like probably around 6-7 o'clock. I think it's on a Saturday or Sunday. And my mother-in-law, who has told me a billion times, I don't like sales. I'm not a salesperson. I don't like sales. I'm like, every day is sales. Everything is selling. Every life is selling. I had to sell to get my wife. I had to sell to her that I was good enough to have her, and I was going to make good decisions in life to get her. So I keep telling her, you are a salesman. Everyone's a salesperson. Everyone is a salesperson. Even if you think, oh, I don't like sales, I'm not good at sales. You have made a sale today, whether it's getting your kids to do something, getting your wife to do something, your spouse to do something, getting someone at work to do something. Doesn't matter. It's sales. I know it's a business way of looking at it, but guess what? It works. So we're walking out of the restaurant, and my mother-in-law, between the front of the restaurant out to the cars, and the parking lot is kind of also in the mall. It's a walking distance. And in the 100 yards from the front door of the restaurant to their car, my mother-in-law wanted to go see a movie at the movie theater, which was like another 100 yards away. My father-in-law did not want to go see a movie. He wanted to go home. In that 100 yards, my mother-in-law, I don't want to say nagged or badgered him, but she successfully, politely, and nicely sold him to the extent that by the time they got to their car, he agreed to go to the movie with her. And they happily went, and they told us the next day how good the movie was. So the whole point of this is, you're in a relationship, you're in a situation. Yes, I know I'm not coughing as much, okay? I'm working on all that stuff at the house. We're getting everything checked. I thank you for noticing. That you're on a team. Not only are you on the Noble Patriots team, and I fully support you 100%. Do what you need to do to make truth go in your life. But if you are having issues in your world, whether it's school, it's home, it's kids, whatever it is your job to get your person on team committed to going where you need to go. It's very important. It's also really, really important for your health care, okay? If you're battling that all day, it can be very, very hard to stay healthy, okay? Awesome. I hope that's helpful. I hope that means something. I hope that made sense and it wasn't just me rambling. But after talking today, a person, I felt that was necessary to kind of go over. And good. Awesome. I'm going to leave you on that. I'm not going to do questions tonight because I went about 10 minutes over what I wanted to, and it is time for me to go and get some rest and relax with some friends and regroup. And I'm working on a bunch of projects this weekend that you guys are going to be seeing very soon. One of them I think is going to be done by tomorrow, which is going to be awesome, and you will see that, and you'll have an opportunity to jump in and be involved, okay? Which is very, very awesome. I will look over questions on this thing, and I will see what you guys are saying. If you have questions, you can always email me questions@drjasondean.com. If you want help health-wise, noblepatriothealth.com. Busy as can be. I love it. I'm going to go now, and I'm going to have some fun. But as always, no matter what you're doing this weekend, whether it's home, work, fun, relaxation, doesn't matter. As always, go serve somebody, go help somebody, be helpful to somebody. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, August 24th, David Icke will be on Revolution Network for the first time ever. David Icke, August 24th. Looks like it's going to be noon Eastern, but I will confirm that as we go forward because that's a couple weeks away. And then on Tuesday, this Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern time, Robert David Steele, former spy, Robert David Steele, this Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So guys, have an amazing weekend. We are jumping in. David Icke coming, Robert David Steele coming, Crop Circle person coming. I forgot their name off the top of my head, but we're going to have the Crop Circles individual coming on. But yes, David Icke. I know everyone's excited. David Icke, August 24th, noon Eastern. As far as I know, I'll confirm that later. And Robert David Steele, former spy, next Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern time, and he has agreed to go live with me. So we're going to talk about some good stuff. All right, you guys have an amazing weekend. Be well. Again, serve and help somebody. I hope I was of value to you tonight. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network. Be well. Love you all, Noble Patriots. Take care.